Impact Wrestling Zone, Trey Miguel, Spider Trey coming at you live, and you are watching Count It Out with Mike and Tyler.
This episode of Count It Out with Mike and Tyler is provided by Cottage Spring.
To Count It Out with Mike and Tyler.
Well, we are live, pals.
Hell yeah, we are.
Yeah, we're extra live.
All day live.
We are like, one of us is live from the nation's capital.
Yeah,
and he's in a good mood.
Oh boy, is he ever.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to one more episode of the Bill Apter Seal of Approved, provided by Cottage Springs. Count It Out with Mike and Tyler. You've already figured this out. I am Mike, but today there is no Tyler. We got the one, the only, the inebriated Mr. Adam Contant. How you doing, brother?
Mike, I told you that I might have some surprises on the episode.
You sure did.
So here's surprise number one. Okay. Today, I'm not Coke Zero, Conta.
No. Look at that. Repping the brand.
Wait, hold on. Look at the sound of that. Da-da!
Oh, that's beautiful.
Little cross promotion there. I'm Cottage Spring Contant today.
Cottage Spring Contant. That's got a ring to it, man. I love that. Cottage Spring Contant coming to you from the nation's capital.
Whoa,
I don't know how much I'm going to talk about here, but let's talk about this. You're on a business trip.
Mike,
what are you doing? What are you doing?
I said I had a couple of surprises for you.
Well, here we go.
I'm not done.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I'm not alone.
Oh, come on now. This is going completely off the fucking rails.
We were just talking about how men do not call each other by their first names unless they're like mad at him. Like I call him Satchel Ass, you're like Dick Farm, asshole, all sorts of shit. I'm not drunk for what it's worth. For once in my life, he's off his ass drunk and I'm sober. So
all right. So I know Danny doesn't listen to my show because only my friends listen to my show. So
you know what? Just for that, these two are way better company than I want to be. Like, fuck this podcast. Let's hang out with these folks and drink some beers and hang out and smoke.
Did you want to go out for a little?
I was gonna say, is that even a surprise?
Yeah.
For better company.
Did you want to take a break and come back?
Well, I mean, why don't you guys do the show?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You guys go do the thing.
I made my appearance. I'm not getting paid for this. Sweet.
No, God, come on. We do it for the love of the game.
Hey,
the
man,
fact that you have ever gotten paid anything to do with professional wrestling is a travesty.
I love wrestling. But I love wrestling more.
Oh, wow. I work with some great people, Michael.
Right off the start, this is already we're gone off the rails. Get that guy. See, I've been so proud. Anyone who's been listening to the show for the last 4 or 5 weeks knows how proud I am of myself. I have kept the swearing to a minimal to appease our overlords at Cottage Springs, and even more importantly, the overlord who lives upstairs in my house, a young 6-year-old man named Finn. I promised him I would stop swearing on the show so he could listen to the show. And he's extremely excited because his favorite indie wrestler of all time was on the show just last week. My son is a huge fan of good old Pretty Ricky Weldey. If you haven't listened to that episode, please go back, check out Tyler's conversation with Pretty Ricky. It's fantastic. And speaking of Pretty Ricky, he did quite the showing over in Hollywood for you boys.
I was about to say, and after working with him this past Saturday, I'm also a big fan of Pretty Ricky. So I just want to make sure I understand this right. So recently, you have been asked to tone down your language.
I have not been asked. I chose.
You chose to tone down your language because of corporate sponsorship and just, because it might be too difficult to just edit out all of that stuff on a week-to-week basis. I just want to make sure that we're clear.
We are on the same page. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Danny came on and swore. This is how proud of myself I am. Danny just came on and swore more in 30 seconds than I have in the last 2 months of the podcast.
The times, they are a changing, my friend. But one thing that never changes is a good time here on Counted Out with Mike and Tyler. And
that's it, baby. That's it.
Especially when I'm on here. Now, I know we do have to follow format, despite the fact that I am definitely not in my usual state of mind when I'm on this show.
We have a lot to get to today
with these guys doing something, right? Have you got something?
We've got a lot. Oh, I've got something. I've got a big something, and apparently my something got added to about 20 minutes ago, so I'm excited about this. So let's start right there, 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get to it. Let's do the Cottage Springs Punch Out of the Week.
And now, the Cottage Springs Punch Out of the Week. Find your favorite flavors at cottagesprings.ca.
All right. This week, I'm kind of cheating a little bit because it's a two-parter, and the first part, I'm going back in time a bit. I'm going back to something that maybe I would have chosen the punch out last week had it been my turn, but it wasn't, so I'm moving it to this week. And this is very topical to what we'll be talking about on the rest of the show today. My punch out is the appearance of Jordynne Grace on NXT television, which, as I just learned, has been continued because she just showed up on NXT about 20 minutes ago. So that's wearing an amazing t-shirt or shirt, by the way. Her attire on the back said WW or TN. Sorry, what did it say? TNA
A B C D E F G.
No, now I already forgot how it goes. NXTNA is what it said on the back on the back of her shirt.
Cool,
fantastic.
Well, it's got to be better than the other shirt that they released last week. Did you see that shirt?
No.
It's like the concept is cute. It's her standing in front of like a Mortal Kombat portal, and it says the Prohibited Portal, which is a take on the Forbidden Door, which is cute. Yeah. But the artwork is terrible. I didn't like it at all. So I hope they just realized that t-shirt sucks. We need a new one.
Man, especially if you put the 2 weeks together, this of course has to be my punch out of the week because number one, there's nobody that listens to the show doesn't know that Jordynne Grace is not only one of my favorite professional wrestlers alive today, she is definitely, I think, my favorite female wrestler of all time. And without a doubt, my favorite and who I consider to be the best TNA knockout of all time.
She has we'll be discussing a path this for herself that is so unique, and she's done it without the machine behind her.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
100%.
And that's really impressive, I think. And she's done it. Let me also state she's done it without Japan, which is another thing that like usually is a hallmark for if that's the thing. If you're not a woman made in WWE, then the only other place you really get made as a superstar is Japan. Now, TNA has definitely done some work with that, but I really think Jordynne Grace is the first one to become a mega star
100%.
Out of it. So
I want to give TNA credit for the stardom that Jordynne Grace has enjoyed, but I almost can't. It's been Jordynne. Jordynne has hustled. Jordynne has pushed herself to the limits, going all over the indies, doing everything she could to get her name out there for the last decade. Since she was 14 years old, she got herself over. You said she did it without the machine. The machine came looking for her. Not only did WWE come and grab her from an existing company and put her in the Royal Rumble, but then you have Shawn Michaels, who gets jealous of Triple H having him in the Royal Rumble, saying, "I want Jordynne Grace. Give me Jordynne Grace." It's amazing. It's almost unprecedented. I'm loving everything about it. So now they're doing this whole cross promotion thing, which is both exciting and a tad scary. I don't know what your theories are going forward. I've noticed that it's been documented from some sites that TNA hasn't really shown any plans after Slammiversary. There's not a whole lot on the books. There's a lot of people being let go, it really seems, if I was to put on my tinfoil hat right now, I might say that it kind of looks like TKO may have already quietly bought TNA. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't know about that. I think it's more so that the WWE is making an effort to create more cross-promotional relationships. We've seen it with Noah. We've certainly seen it with TNA. I think it's a great benefit. And I think this is just more of TKO saying, look, this is a new era. There's new people in charge here, and we're going to do things differently. And we're not going to be such sticklers about that sort of thing. And I know that, you say that like TNA doesn't really have a whole lot of plans after Slammiversary. I mean, I just think that we just haven't heard about them yet, So no, I don't think that's the case. I think they just have had good experiences with TNA. They probably really, really liked what they saw from Jordynne Grace at the Royal Rumble. And
100%.
And if there is anything from the old regime that they've probably taken away from this, is the idea of looking at that talent and saying, that's a future superstar right there. Maybe we should work with them and groom them a little bit and get them ready when their contract is up to come on over to our side of things. So that's all I think it is. I think it's just them having a very good experience with TNA and saying, because look, here's the way, this is why I think it makes the most sense that it's not that. TNA, as much as I love them and as much as they're my favorite promotion out there of all the TV promotions that are out there, they are on that same level as probably an NXT in terms of size and visibility and all of that from an American market standpoint. So if you've already got something like that, why would you need something additional? So I just don't see them. I just don't understand the purpose, unless the idea would be to shut it down. But I think, again, this new regime is not going to take a monopolistic, conquer all approach to it. They seem to be just willing to work with the companies. And I think that they also have the understanding, the truth of the matter, which is that the more smaller companies that are out there that they can work with, the less likely they are to start a war with them. And also the better they can control the business. And also the healthier the business becomes that way. So I don't see that as the case at all. I do think there could be a very good possibility that we see a WWE women's wrestler show up at Slammiversary as a quid pro quo for this. The rumor has been that maybe Natalya might be Jordynne Grace's opponent in Montreal. And I mean, Mike, you can speak to that personally. That Montreal crowd would love that match.
Oh my God, would they ever? Absolutely, they would.
Hey, what are you doing July 20th? You want to go to Montreal?
Oh God, don't.
I mean, it might be the booze talking, but do it.
July is so busy. I love it.
Come on, you and Sukram are gonna go see Barrie wrestling. I want to go watch Slammiversary with you in Montreal. Show me what it's like. Come on.
Yeah, I suppose you've probably never seen a Montreal show, have you? Oh,
I have not, sir.
It's a whole other beast. We'll have to do that one day. I'm 100%. So to wrap up the punch out of the week, I love what you said, because I do agree with you where this is a great way. And we're going to get this. That's what our list is all about today. We're going to talk about the, what did you call it before? The cross promotional portal. This is, we're going to see a lot of this. I do believe that. And what a great person to choose to start this off with Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace, I think, is, other than maybe Josh Alexander, Jordynne has been the face of TNA for the last 5 years. I really believe that. I think it's been Jordynne and Josh have really been leading the way for TNA.
I got to tell you something. If he's successful against Matt Hardy, I think you got to put Moose in that category too. He has really done a really good job of carrying the company on his back and representing them as champion.
You're not wrong.
Twice now, and has done 3 times actually, I think, and done a really good job. So I'd put him in that conversation too, just because I feel like he should be getting some props because he's doing a really good job as champion.
And once again, before we finish up, I have to remind everybody what our good friend Greg Gagne told us just a couple weeks ago, that Jordynne Grace is the leading seller by far, 3-1 of the TNA action figures. That is awesome. Go get your. I think they're almost out. I don't think there's many more left. So if
And this
you
is
can grab
one and
yourself
done
one,
run.
go and do it. Yeah,
this is a one and done run. They're not
100%.
doing them again after this. That series.
So if you are able to get your hands on any of those TNA action figures, doesn't matter which character it is, I suggest you do it because they're almost gone. And like Adam said, they're not coming back. All right. So before we head over to our list today, we have one more surprise for everybody. That is still
wait a
TNA.
minute. So I've had two surprises and you've
I've got one
surprise?
too. I've got a surprise too. Actually, this is Tyler's surprise. This is a little surprise that Tyler had tucked away and we just haven't used. And what a perfect time to use it because we are doing a TNA list today. So why not get joined by a TNA wrestler? We're about to
Wait a minute. Are you telling
you.
me Danny Franchise signed a TNA contract?
Oh God, no. If anything would get me to stop watching that product. If firing Scott D'Amore couldn't get me to stop watching that product, the only thing they could do it is hiring Danny Franchise.
Fair.
We are about to get joined by a TNA wrestler talking at an OVW show to our good friend Tyler. Let's throw it over right away to Shera.
Alrighty, Tyler here representing Counted Out, and I am joined by one of the stars of the hit television show on Netflix, The Wrestler. We have Shera here. Shera, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, brother, for having me here. And I'm actually had a great time here in Canada. You know, Toronto is amazing. I always come here and really enjoy it. I love the food.
Yeah.
And I love the people here. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, we love having you here. So it works out both ways
Yes,
and everything.
sweet.
Let's talk about The Wrestler. Everybody's talking about it. Yeah. It blew up on Netflix, really shined a beautiful light on all of you guys in Ohio Valley, and especially you. You're a really big part of that show. How has life been post that show for you?
I mean, it's been amazing. Of course, so much excitement, after because Netflix is a huge platform for anyone, and for me, especially been doing this for 10 years, and that was really big opportunity for me. Definitely after that affect me and my life and more publicity, and more fan following and around the world, and so much love. And this is what I was looking for, like love and respect and people connect with my story. So Netflix definitely changing my life slowly, but yeah.
I really think, and I'm not just saying that because we're sitting here together, I thought that watching you, it was one of the most beautiful parts of the show because your love and your passion really comes through and how you want to make your family proud. I thought it was so beautiful. Were you happy with the final production of the show?
Yeah, of course. I mean, they did a really good job, but they're one of the best directors, so our show became one of the number one show in Netflix. So that means they are doing something special, and the way they tell my story and whatever they did for me, and I think that was an amazing job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got to spend some time working Cowboy James Storm. They showed that on the show.
Yep.
You have a good history with James Storm going back to your days in Impact Wrestling. Do you have any James Storm stories that you can share with us of your time with him or working with him and what you take away from those moments?
I mean, the thing with James Storm, I started my career with James Storm when I was Koya, and he's an amazing wrestler. Everyone know who's he, and doing that when I started my career with James Storm, so I was kind of super green and have no clue about the country and know about the wrestling. I have zero clue for anything. So there was a lot of learning point when I was working with him, and also I want to make him proud him too as well. But the final opportunity, I really show him who I am. That was the final match with James Storm in the Netflix, because I think when I was there and I said, this is my jungle and I am the lion and I'm going to do what I want to do to protect my title.
100%.
And so I did everything, and also same time I protect my character, who I am, and then he said help me, and he was after very respectful. He said hey, I'm so fucking proud of you.
Love that.
Yeah, so that was I was looking for too as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Another person that has a big hand in what you're doing at Ohio Valley Wrestling is of course Al Snow. What's it been like to sit under Al's learning tree, and what are you taking away from your time with Al?
I mean, Al has always been great to me, because I just want to also record the videos.
Yeah, of course.
Why no, right? So Al has always been great to me because Al, the way Al do things and with wrestling and how much experience he have. I mean, I'm so honored and thrilled to work with Ao and learn under the Ao. And Ao is amazing. I love him, the way he showed me all the respect and teach me, and that's really helping in my future and my career currently. So he's amazing.
And you've done some incredible things with your career so far. We've seen you spend lots of time with Impact Wrestling over the years.
Yeah.
Do you have some favorite moments of your time with Impact Wrestling that stand out to you?
I still work with Impact Wrestling. I'm still, it's been 4 years. So, I mean, I love Tommy Dreamer. I love Scott Moore. I love the company because that's company actually helped me to bring me here. Uh, I mean, one of the moment I can say that when my father was, passing away, and I tell him, "Sir, this is happening," and my father in the cancer, he started emotionally and crying with me, and Scott, and he immediately booked a flight for me, and that is one of the most important and touchy moment for me when Scott really helped me, for through that.
You really feel the family atmosphere with Impact
Yes.
Wrestling,
Yes.
right? And it
Yeah.
comes across, with social media, with all the talent and,
Yeah.
and the product in the ring. Can we expect to see? Like, I know you're still working with Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
What's the plans with you going forward? Then are we going to see you more time in Impact Wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, the long, the things working for me and working for them. I mean, I don't have any, problem. And also, I'm hungry, I'm starving, and I want to work much I can. I want to succeed in my career. I want to take all the opportunity around the world because I'm a hungry lion. So,
I love
so
it.
definitely, I mean, I go for the flow.
We had the big announcement at the last show. TNA is coming back.
Yes.
How excited are you for that? That's awesome stuff.
Super excited, brother, because TNA is back. And I was telling earlier one of the guys, like, when you lost your purse, and you have everything in that purse, your ID, your credit card, your money, and when you finally found it, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm glad I found it. Same thing for TNA, because when we found the TNA back, it was very exciting, and uh, looking forward to future, what we're gonna be do the best, the company TNA back, and also what we can do the talent and career wise with the yeah.
Absolutely. With TNA too, you also got to do some ring kicking.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I know that's probably impossible, but can you try to describe the feeling that you had performing in front of your home country like that?
I mean, ring kicking helped me to find who I am, because before that I was doing a modeling, I was doing a bodybuilding, I was trying to find everything I can in my career. But soon ring kicking I did, and after immediately I discover myself. This is who I am, and this is what I'm gonna do in my life. So after that, ring kicking changed my life, and I become, after 2 years, all the hard work and pray, I become first Indian signed with TNA wrestler, from India. So that was very honor and touchy moment for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The last question that I like to ask everybody, I've been very great with your time, and we appreciate that.
No problem.
You've done so many incredible things in such a short period of time, and I know there's a lot more incredible things to come. What's something that you look back on that just makes you happy, that you've done, that you've accomplished, makes you smile?
Sometimes I still don't believe, actually, where I am from, like small village in Punjab, and I never thought, I had never have any vision. I was just lost and trying to figure it out who I am. I never thought I'm gonna become this far. So honestly, sometimes I pitch myself like, this is really life, the real life, or I'm just living with a dream, because it's amazing how far I came, and also I always wanted to make my country proud and become iconic for my country. So
Absolutely.
a dream, I becoming true slowly, slowly. If you have a right vision, if you believe in yourself and you hard work and love your family, and you will get what you want. Just need patience, and I have so much patience, so I'm just keep going and moving forward.
Well, we've really enjoyed watching the journey. We can't wait to see what the future holds. It's been such an honor to sit down and talk to you. It's so great to see good things happen to good people.
Thank you,
We
brother.
wish you the best of success. Thank you so much.
Thank you
I'm
so much.
Tyler, and you have been counted out.
All right. Thank you so much, Shera. Thank you so much, Tyler, for doing that. And thank you for Al Snow for bringing all those fantastic wrestlers to Canada. We hope to see the OVW crowd back again. But it's that time, man. It is that time. The reason for the season, we are doing our list. And our list this week, it's just like we just talked about with the punch out, man. We're talking about, I'm going to keep using this term over and over again. We're talking about the cross promotional portal. You and I want to say maybe about a year ago, give or take, you and I did a list where we did our dream matches pitting, what was it? Was it a WWE and New Japan?
We did a TNA versus New Japan card because we were in the midst of multi-match of madness fever. We were really excited about it. And you and I, that's what made it so unique was not only did we, it wasn't just like a list of dream matches. It was like book a card.
Yeah.
Book your 7-match
so
card.
Difficult, which is so difficult.
It was so tough. And I'm so glad that for this list, you threw that out the window.
No,
like, I don't care. We don't have to build a card. I just want 7 dream matches that you want pitting TNA versus WWE.
Exactly. And because if I was to do a card, this would be so blow. This would be Vince Russo. Vince Russo's wet dream, just so bloated, big matches and big stipulations in every single match. I didn't want that. So I just want my 7 matches that I would like to see come out of the cross promotional portal, pitting all the active wrestlers, and that's my criteria today. The criteria is every wrestler that we talk about today has to be currently active on either the WWE or TNA roster.
Question, because this may now affect things last minute. When you say active, you mean active and uninjured, or could I pair them up against somebody who's currently injured but is an active member of the roster?
I mean, I guess it depends on the injury. If the injury is like Big E, no. But if it's somebody that because Big E's not coming back,
sure,
anytime soon,
I get, yeah.
But
the
if
person,
it's an injury,
the person
but if
I'm
it's
looking
injury
at has an injury, but they're gonna come back. It's not a major injury; it's a minor injury.
Because this is a dream match that, let's say, can happen anytime this year. Because I have matches that are specific to certain events. I have a match that would have to happen in November at the Survivor Series. So if I have an injured wrestler, he has until November to get better, and that's very possible, right? So of course, that's fine with me.
Okay, very good then.
How do you want to do this today?
Wait a minute. You told me something very interesting before we came back from the interview, and I want you to say it on microphone because this got me excited. Because I'm excited for this list because let's be honest, there's so many possibilities here. I would be flabbergasted if we come up with a single match that's the same. So the fact that you told me this other tidbit before we hit record again made me so excited, and I feel bad for being excited over something so negative, but it's the nature of this show.
Yeah, what I told you was I made the dire mistake of showing my list to Tyler before air, and I think we're in a fight now. Tyler hated my list, but then it inspired him to make his own, and I hated his list, so it's fine. Interesting enough, though, we did have 2 matches that were the same.
Really?
He and I had 2 identical matches.
Where were they in the same spot?
One was, yeah.
Whose was higher?
I want to say let me see which one. Our number 4s matched.
Wow. And they were the same match?
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. Okay, now that's the one I'm looking most forward to hearing about.
But the rest of the card, he enjoyed the idea of my 1 through 4. He despised my 5, 6, 7. And I love that. I'm so happy that he hates it because I live for him to hate my list.
Did he give you his list?
He just kind of threw it together and then texted it to me. I'll have to see. I guarantee I have it. Instead of doing honorable mentions or on top,
let's go through Tyler's list.
On top of honorable mentions, we'll go through Tyler's list. Now, I know that you had also made a list, and what we usually do here is I'll do my list, and when the list is done, you'll throw yours out. Would you like to do that same format, or do you want to go a little different today? Do you want to do My 7, then your 7, and then my 6, your 6. What do you want to do
I
today?
really like going
you're
back
the guest,
and forth.
your call. All right,
I like going back and forth.
I like it too.
So my 7, your 7, my 6, your 6, whatever.
All right. Well, you know what? You are the guest. Let's do guests first. Adam, what is your number 7 WWE versus TNA portal list? I don't like that at all.
Batten down the hatches because we are going to war. International warfare. I am putting Steve Macklin against Gunther. And I am gonna let these two beat the ever-loving crap out of each other, and I'm gonna love every minute of it.
Wow. I had a very short list of people who I would have considered go up against Gunther.
He was a tough one because I also had several, but at the end of the day, I was like, nah, I want to see Macklin do it.
My list.
That guy has made his whole career in TNA about being tougher than everybody else and being able to take the punishment and then dish it back out.
Now, I really like my Gunther match and I really like my Steve Macklin match, and I wouldn't change either, but I really enjoy the idea of this. Would I pay to see a pay-per-view where those two just beat the shit out of each other? You're 100%. And I don't even care who wins. I really don't.
I would book Gunther to win.
Yeah.
But it would be one of those matches where he has to give everything he's got to beat Macklin.
This is gonna come out weird, and I hope it comes out the way I mean it. Steve Macklin is such a great loser.
He's Teflon.
Steve Macklin can go in, lose a program, not just lose a match, lose a program, and still coming out as a guy who looks like he could go up against the world champ next week.
You can't hurt him. You can't hurt him.
Never.
That's why I'm going to book. If I have the book, I'm booking Gunther because he's fine. Just Macklin hanging in there would be enough for him, and that's what the fans like about him. They like the fact that he can take so much punishment and come back. They don't care if he wins or loses. They're just impressed with how tough that guy is.
Yeah.
At least
I'm not gonna lie to you. I have a good amount of multi-man matches on my card because I wanted to get some names on here. I wanted to get people on my card, and there's only 7 matches. Okay.
I started with a lot of multi-person matches, and now I'll tell you, I only have singles and tags.
Wow, and that's kind of how it turned out with Tyler's list. He had multi singles and tags, where there's so many names on both rosters, especially the TNA roster. Because what I did, I'll tell you, when I decided to start my list, what I did was I went through the TNA roster. I brought the entire roster in front of me, and I said, what I'm going to do, I have 7 matches. I am just going to write down the names of the people I really want to see in these matches. I wrote down 36 names.
Yeah.
And then I said, uh-oh.
It made me realize how lucky we are as wrestling fans right now. Like to have that big of a list of guys that were like, they're stars and I want to see them wrestle. That's incredible.
That's just on the TNA side.
Yeah, exactly.
It's ridiculous. So my number 7.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
And it may spoil some stuff, but I am interested. Who's somebody you really, really, really wanted to get on your list and you weren't able to find a spot or an opponent for them? Because I'll tell you mine right now.
Yeah.
My guy is Hammerstone. I wanted him on my list so bad because I'm such a fan, but I just he was a guy I was thinking about against Gunther. He would have been a great opponent for Gunther, but I wanted Macklin to have the spot more because I also just think he would have been a better opponent. But I love Hammerstone, but that is a guy where if Big E was in, that's my dream match. My dream match for Hammerstone would be Big E.
Hammerstone just didn't make it for me as well. Another 2 guys that I'll just spoil it and say that you won't be seeing them. Broken Matt Hardy. I wish I could put on this card or put on this list. I really do. I love the broken one. I love the gimmick. I would love to see him be able to go up against some people in the WWE roster right now. I just couldn't fit in with some of the stuff I really wanted. And another name, a former WWE name, who I think could go and do some really cool things, is Brian Myers. The most professional wrestler, man. I think could do some really cool stuff on this, but he just didn't make the cut for me. I'll tell you four people.
Roster cut.
I'll tell you four people who did make the cut, though.
Please do.
Because my number 7 is a fatal 4-way match. And we're doing the quintessential diva, Giselle, versus Liv Morgan, versus Jody Threat, versus Bianca Belair.
4 incredible women, man. That's a great matchup.
This is a clinic, I think, 2 of the greatest TNA has to offer. And yes, I'm a little biased because Giselle and Jody are both Canadian girls. I love having them on our on the TNA roster, and I love. I haven't gotten to see Giselle on our local scene, but I've been on shows with Jody, and she's just an incredible human being, an incredible athlete, an incredible performer. How do I not put her in a ring with somebody like Bianca Belair? The 2 of them in the ring together would be magic. And then you throw in the things that Liv Morgan is doing right now. She's at the top of her game. Liv Morgan is probably doing some of the best work she's done in a decade. So to put her in with, especially Jody Threat, put her in with somebody like Bianca Belair that you know that they can work well together. And then someone like Giselle that, let's be honest, maybe a lot of WWE fans don't know Giselle. A lot of they don't know what Giselle is capable of. Put Giselle in the ring with a Liv Morgan or a Bianca Belair. Put the dynamic of those 4 women together, and you have magic right there.
I would love to see Liv Morgan in the knockouts division. I think she would thrive there and do so well. So having her involved would be awesome, but not awesome enough, I guess, to get on my list because Liv's not there. But she is on yours, and I'm thankful for that.
All right. Speaking of being on the list, who made the cut for your number 6, sir?
My number 6 is a one-on-one match, and my only gimmick on the show.
I'm so gimmicked up, man.
I am going to have a Monsters Ball match.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Okay.
Pitting Sami Callihan.
Okay.
Versus Logan Paul for the United States Championship. Should I explain myself?
Please.
I'm
not saying I wouldn't watch it, but I'm confused. Sell me this.
Logan Paul is in the top 3 best chicken shit heels in the business right now.
Of the last 20 years, possibly too. Yeah.
And there's only really maybe 2 guys that I think would be the most fun to put him against just because of the fact that he's a chicken shit heel and to watch him try to run away and weasel his way out of a Monsters Ball match. One is PCO. The other is Sami Callihan, but I'm going to give it to Callihan because Callihan can bring it on the mic. So he can match words with Logan Paul. And I would just love this story of Logan Paul being absolutely terrified of the things that Sami Callihan, like the idea of his promos talking about how he's going to take sick, perverse pleasure in torturing Logan Paul for coming into his business and making a mockery of it.
Yeah.
And of course I book Logan Paul to win because that's how you build heat, and he weasels his way out of it somehow. But to me, that's just money. I would want to see that match big time.
You know, you made me think about something. You're talking about chicken shit heels. You asked me, some names from the TNA roster that I wish I fit on that I didn't get on. You remind me of at least one person from the WWE roster that I really wanted on here, and I just couldn't find room for him. Logan Paul is going to be on my list at some point today.
Ooh.
But who I consider to be maybe Logan's rival as the best chicken shit heel going right now, I could not find room. I could not find room for Dirty Dom Mysterio.
Yeah, me either. And I wanted him on my list so bad. But he is. That's why I had to classify him as like top 3 because right now, nobody's touching Dominic. It's Dominic and everybody else is a close second.
100%.
Or far second, distant second. Sorry.
Couldn't agree with you more. Hey, you want to talk about gimmicks? I gimmicked it, man. I'm a gimmick whore. I want gimmick in my TNA matches, and I went full TNA gimmick on this one.
Lay on me, baby.
We're about to see several
Reverse battle royal. Reverse battle royal.
We're about to see 4 men from each company enter Ultimate X.
Wow, that is a big match.
It's a big match. Here are my competitors.
The big country. We're in high spot country.
Now you can't. I'm going to sell this to you. You're going to be happy no matter who else is in the match, because I'm telling you right now that we're going to start off with Trey Miguel.
Hell yeah.
Trey Miguel will be taking on Finn Balor, Jonathan Gresham, Logan Paul.
There you go.
Joe Hendry, Jay Uso, PCO, and Chad Gable.
This seems like you threw darts at a board with names on it. Like I get it. I know that's not what it is. But I'm saying hearing those names initially and looking at it on paper, that's what it seems like. But I'm sure there's a process behind it.
There really was. I just wanted every wrestler that came in here to be able to bring something different to an Ultimate X match. And we've seen these people that you're like, why would they put PCO in an Ultimate X match? But we've seen him in them.
Because it's not about weight limits. It's about no limits.
He's amazing in these matches. And I want to see what Joe Hendry would bring to a match like this.
Joe's not on my list, but I wanted it so bad for him to do something with the Miz and R-Truth. Like, tell me you wouldn't just watch a Scooby-Doo movie with those three.
Right. Jay Uso would, there's another name. Let's be honest. In hindsight, maybe I should have gave him the Chad Gable spot. I kind of wish
he didn't make my list, man. And I wanted to.
I kind of wish I put Kofi Kingston in here, but I'm not going to go and change my list up. Maybe Kofi belongs in this Ultimate X. But I really like Chad Gable. I like what he's doing, and I think he could really show what he can do in an Ultimate X match. Finn Balor will bring it in a match like this. Logan Paul will steal the show in a match like this.
100%.
Logan Paul and Trey Miguel in the same ring. Give it to me every day of the 100%. Week. Number 5, sir.
Well, I'm going to say 2 names that I'm actually kind of shocked did not make it into that last match.
Okay.
But when you told me to put this list together, this was the first match I thought of, and I never strayed from it. Mike Bailey versus Ricochet. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, that's... I really like where I put Mike Bailey on this on my list, but that's a license to print money right there. You don't need anything else. That's pure, and I mean this actually in the best way possible. That's what I call Tony Khan booking. You don't need a storyline. You don't need.
I thought about putting the Speed Championship on the line, but I decided against it.
You don't need anything. That's just sit back and enjoy professional wrestling at its best. When you watch those 2 guys.
And I'd put Speedball over.
Yeah. 100%.
I'd have him beat Ricochet.
I would, just to piss off Will Ospreay. I'm gimmicking it up again, man. I'm going full gimmick once again. This time with 10 men.
Get bigger.
And I told you that I believe, actually, I didn't tell you. I think we were off air when we were discussing this. But I told you that at some time, our guys were going to make it to November. We're going to go to the Survivor Series.
All right, let's hear it.
Dude, we're doing War Games.
Okay.
We're doing Team WWE versus Team TNA.
All right.
In War Games. Let me start off. Who do you want to start off with? Team WWE or Team TNA?
Team WWE, because I want to see if you and I were thinking along the same lines.
Okay. 5 men on each team.
Okay.
Captain, Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
Seth Rollins.
Okay.
Randy Orton. Braun Breaker. And Drew McIntyre.
So I kind of did something like this in my original draft, and only one of those names matched up. So we were not on the same page.
Tyler gave me shit. He goes, that WWE team is way too stacked. I'm like, WWE's roster is stacked. What do you want me to do? If you're putting if you're putting a WWE team together for War Games, how do you not put the 5 best men on the roster? And I think this would be such a perfect place for Braun Breaker to show how ruthless, how insane, and how violent he can be in a match like this.
I thought about putting Braun in a couple of spots. I'm impressed with him.
Of course, they're taking on Team TNA.
Yeah, this is where I'm interested.
Which I think is impressive in its own right. We're starting with Captain Eric Young.
Okay, I'm liking that so far.
With his team, Frankie Kazarian, Sami Callihan,
okay,
Steve Macklin,
okay,
and Moose.
That's a good team.
Right.
Like, they don't have the star power that the other guys do, but like in terms of like characters, that's a legit threat. That's a legit threat.
You say they don't have the star power, but when I say these 5 names, this is Team TNA. I think of TNA when I think of these 5 names. Eric Young leads TNA and has
literally
for 25 years. Yeah, Frankie Kazarian. Yeah, I think a lot of people think about Ring of Honor first, and that's fine. But he has waved the TNA banner for years.
Yeah,
Sami Callihan keeps trying to leave TNA, and they just keep pulling him back, and he can't leave TNA. He can't. He's part of it. You know, he's just part of that machine. Steve Macklin has been built by TNA. TNA has made that man. You know, they took this man that WWE just didn't know what to do with and made him into an indestructible machine. And we discussed this earlier. Moose is a front runner for face of the company of the last 5 years.
But here's the thing for me. You make that a normal tag team match or even a Survivor Series elimination match.
Mm-hmm.
I go Team WWE all day, honestly.
Sure.
Honest to God.
Okay.
The gimmick, the fact that it's War Games and you have some of the most vicious, psychotic, and brutal members of the TNA roster is what makes me go, this is a fight. I could see. This is what I'm saying. In a normal,
and I tried to add it up where you have your veterans, you have your Kazarians and your EYs, but you also have your Randy Ortons, and I guess we can call Rollins a veteran at this point. But you also have your young whippersnappers like your Macklins and your Mooses against your Braun Breakers, and to an extent your Drew McIntyres. I know he's been around for a long time, but he still goes like a young guy.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think you would have sold me on this match if it wasn't War Games, but because it's War Games, I'm like, yeah, I'll pay to see that. 100%.
All right. I'm so excited to get to my number 4. This is the one and only match that I match with, one of 2 matches, but I match spots with Tyler. So let's get to your number 4 so I can rip my Band-Aid off.
Well, you're going from 8 to 10. And I'm bringing it back down to 4. The one and only tag team match on my list, but one that I think I actually really struggled with, but I think I'm really happy with.
Mm-hmm.
The Rascals, my boys, Trey Miguel and Wentz, taking on the New Day of Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. 4 of the best athletes in either company, 2 of the best tag teams in either company. Give these guys 30 minutes and they could steal the show of any show that they're on. This may surprise you. I would put over the New Day. I love Trey Miguel and Wentz, but I just think New Day has the more experience. They're the bigger stars, and I don't think the Rascals would necessarily be hurt from a loss to the you know what? I'll say it. Hot take. Fight me on it. Top 3 tag team in WWE history, the New Day.
Oh, 100%. I won't argue with that.
Well, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Rob. That's right, Rob. Calling you out. Directly.
I agree
fight
with
me on it. Come to the shows and fight me, you coward. I'm kidding. I love you. Did you, I didn't tell you, I didn't bring it with me to Ottawa. He got me a Counted Out tumbler for me to
showed
drink.
me. He sent me a picture of it just to tell me. He's like, when you see Adam, this is what he's going to be drinking from.
What a beautiful man. I love Rob. What a beautiful brother. Love you.
So I agree with 92% of what you said during that whole spiel. I love the idea of that match. I agree that the New Day is a top three team. I also think that the Rascals are a top 5, if not 3 team in TNA history. I love the Rascals.
Yep.
Only thing I don't agree with is, for me personally, I'm putting the Rascals over.
Hey, well, I ain't mad at that.
New Day doesn't need the win, and I think that makes the Rascals that like a win over Kofi and Xavier that's career making for those boys. And the thing is, they still have a career to make. Not to take anything away from Kofi and Xavier, but they're on the other side of their career now. They really are. The Rascals are still on the uphill climb. There's still a lot left in the tank for those boys, a lot left to achieve.
All right, listeners, you tell us, you comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, comment it. If it's on a podcast, shoot us a message. Let us know who would you book. Tell us who do you want to go over.
So we have 2 things in common right now.
Okay.
Number 1, my number 4 is also my only tag match on the card.
And we're both drinking.
I'm actually drinking water tonight. It's weird. It's very strange. Very strange. It's bizarro. It's bizarro counted out tonight.
What's the other thing we have in common?
The other thing we have in common is the tag match that I chose, I think, would also steal the show of any card it's on.
And also, Tyler thought this too.
And Tyler thought this too. No matter what card you're putting this on, this is going to be the dark horse, the show stealer, doesn't matter what you want to call it. This is the match you're going to want to watch. I'm doing my boys, Ace and Bay, ABC, as they take on DIY.
Yeah, that's a good match. It hurt me so much to leave ABC off of my card and my list. Mm-hmm. Oh God, they're just incredible, because I think them versus the New Day would be amazing too. I originally was going to do like a 4-way tag, and DIY was one of the teams that I was considering. What a great match. What a great idea. Like, if we could have had like an 8th spot, I would absolutely put your match and Tyler's match and put it on the card. That's incredible that you both came up with that, but I absolutely get it. I 100% get it.
I can't say we both came out. He really did inspire, because we were talking about, and he was talking about the teams that, could face each other. And I totally forgot DIY was a thing. And then he mentioned them. I'm like, oh, because I can't remember who it was. I had ABC against somebody else, and then he mentioned DIY. I'm like, oh fuck, there's my match. And then when we put the cards together, we ended up both having
that would be that
match.
I would, again, another one, you put it on a card, I'm paying to see it.
We are in the top 3, and I think,
yeah, man.
I know for myself, I have 3 absolute dream matches as far as I'm concerned that could headline. All 3 of my matches could headline
Agreed.
Any card on either brand.
Same.
I know you well enough to know that there's no way that your top 3 cards aren't the same. So tell me about your top 3 matches. Start with number 3. What do you got for me?
Number 3, champion versus champion.
Mm-hmm.
Face of the company versus face of the company. I'm putting Moose versus Cody Rhodes.
Okay. I like it.
I think the story here is 2 things. Number 1, Cody fighting another kind of monster, because he's taken that white meat champion babyface role and done really, really well with it. And his role seems to be also, I'm Bret Hart, taking on like everybody as the champion and turning back and getting like 5-star matches out of them.
Yeah.
Moose can do that. And here's where Moose's side of the story comes in. Moose is looking to prove himself. He has been saying for years, I'm a wrestling god, and I am on the same level as every other world champion in every other company. Now, prove it. Prove it, big boy. This is your chance. So that's the story I would go with. I'd still put Cody over just because he's the biggest name and the biggest talent in the business right now.
And it doesn't hurt Moose at all.
No, absolutely not. And just the match of those two guys, it would elevate Moose regardless. Just being in there with Cody, it would elevate him. But I guarantee you it would be an incredible matchup. So yep, that one's my number 3.
I give a lot of thought to this match myself. Not only because it's champion versus champion, but because the two men would complement each other so well for being really so different from each other. Their styles would clash together in the best way possible. I would love this match, which is why I did put them on opposite sides of War Games, so we could at least get that dynamic.
Fair. Absolutely fair.
My number 3, I want to go back to what we were talking about before when you had Speedball and Ricochet. We talked about how you don't need just sit back and watch greatness. That's how I feel about my number 3, because I'm bringing back Speedball Mike Bailey, but he's the one that I have chosen to go up against the ring general Gunther.
Wow.
Yes.
Did not see that one coming, but I like it.
I think these two
the
men,
little guy, big guy dynamic works really well with Gunther. He's great. He's got that Brock Lesnar kind of thing about, for whatever reason, he's great when he's slapping meat with a big man, but he's even better when he's beating the crap out of little guy, and then the little guy comes back and beats the crap out of him, and you're like, oh my God, I want to see the little guy, the Jim Cornette guy fighting on the side of the road thing. Like they do that very well with Gunther.
Very well. And Mike just doesn't know how to have bad matches. It's not in his repertoire. Mike can go out, and I'm not saying that Gunther has bad matches often, but for Bailey to go up against Gunther, they would both be at the top of their game. They'd both be bringing their A games, and we would see this clash of styles in Clash of Styles, TNA. Oops.
Spoilers.
We would see this clash of styles in the most beautiful way, because Gunther can wrestle in that style. We have seen that in the past. We have seen him across seas wrestle Mike Bailey style. And Mike Bailey can, you said that Gunther's really good at fighting the small guy, but Mike Bailey can wrestle the big men. He's proven that time and time again. Mike Bailey has been called the underdog 92% of his career. We're going to continue to call him the underdog, because I think I'm putting Gunther over. But I want to see this match.
I love it. I like my match better, but I do love yours. All right.
We're getting so close to the top of the mountain here. Let's go to your number 2.
Runner-up spot. I think a lot of people would expect this to be the number 1, but I'm putting it at number 2 because there's one match I just like a little bit better than that.
Mm-hmm.
I am doing a generational clash, a Styles clash, if you will. AJ Styles versus Josh Alexander. Yes, this is my number 2 spot. I'll let you know up front, I'm putting Josh over. This is 100% the passing of the torch match. This is going to be AJ Styles putting over Josh Alexander.
I like it.
You're the guy now. You are now the flag bearer for this company, and I'm giving you my seal of approval. And just knowing what a fan Josh Alexander was of AJ Styles and the X Division and everything, it's a story that writes itself. It's a chance for AJ Styles to say, "Yeah, look what I did with Cody Rhodes. I'm still that guy. I'm still that guy." And I could still be that guy. I'm the great. It's basically the match of who's the greatest TNA wrestler ever. That's what this is. This is Rock Hogan. This is Rock Hogan, but with better work rate.
And I think to make this even more important, this has to happen at like a Bound for Glory. This has to main event a Bound for Glory or a Slammiversary. This is not a WWE. This is not a WWE match.
No, because that's not what this is about. This is
doesn't
about
happen at WrestleMania.
Who's the best TNA wrestler of all time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what this is.
I absolutely love this. I'm going to keep my opinions fully about it.
Oh, and I put Josh
back just a bit, because I might be talking about one of these guys in just a minute.
Okay.
So I might have some ideas about this in just a minute. So I'm going to leave it, and then so I'm not spoiling my thoughts on one of these two men who I'm going to talk about in a minute.
Sure.
I will go to my number 2, however, where to me, and this is where I was so surprised that I thought this would be the match that me and Tyler matched on, but it's not, because I know that he has so much respect for both these performers. If you have the choice, or the opportunity, I should say, to take two of the greatest wrestlers of the last 2 decades and put them together, why wouldn't you? When you have, look at these rosters, 2 of the greatest superstars on either brand, who have led their brands and have done everything they could for not only their company, but the divisions they wrestle under, and for professional wrestling. Why would I not put the 2 together? To me, this is obvious. I don't think this is obvious to a lot of people for some reason, but for me, it's obvious. I'm doing the juggernaut Jordynne Grace taking on the Queen, Charlotte Flair.
I can't argue. It's a great match. Maybe the best match you could possibly put together. Although I don't think it is the best match you could put together. We will get to that momentarily.
I mean, it wasn't my number one, so obviously
everything that you said building up to that reveal is 100% true, and was my original big match that I was going to put for Jordynne Grace.
So many people, men and women, whom I could have put up against Jordynne. So many. No, this is too long. And I know, a lot of people say, well, why wouldn't it be Rhea? Why wouldn't it be, even I know some people are going to laugh at me, but why wouldn't it be Nia Jax? Why wouldn't it be, there's so many people it could have been.
Bianca Belair had my spot for a while.
Bianca Belair. For me, though, Jordynne Grace, and I said this earlier in the show, Jordynne Grace is the greatest knockout of all time. You're never going to argue me. You throw your Mickey Jameses at me, throw your Gail Kims at me, and I'm going to come back every day with a Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace is the greatest knockout. How
much money would you pay for Kong in her prime versus Jordynne Grace?
In her prime?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like time machine.
That right now, you want to talk about Josh and AJ at Bound for Glory? That's a Bound for Glory main event right there. That's 100%. That you want to talk about dream matches? That is that is what
dream matches are made of. So good.
Jordynne encompasses everything that division was ever meant to be.
Absolutely.
And everything 100%. I just said about Jordynne, I'm going to say about Charlotte Flair and the women's division since the dawning of, I hate this term, but the women's revolution. Mm-hmm. Once the Divas division started to dissolve, and they really started focusing on the fact that women could actually wrestle and headline cards and wrestle as good, if not better, than the men, and they really started showcasing and focusing on how good some of the women are, Charlotte Flair has been the forefront and the best. And once again, I'll take the opportunity to tell Rob that he's wrong, because I know he doesn't like Charlotte Flair. But Charlotte Flair is the greatest women's wrestler in the history of WWE. I will say it right now. There's no women's wrestler who is more successful, more decorated, or just better than Charlotte Flair in the WWE. And putting the greatest of the WWE ever had to offer against the greatest TNA ever had to offer, why wouldn't I do that?
Well, I can't argue it, but I'm gonna.
What do you got? I know this is a Jordynne match.
I'll rip the Band-Aid off. It's Jordynne versus Rhea Ripley.
Okay.
Because I can't argue that Charlotte is the best in the WWE and facing Jordynne would be the best. Absolutely. But I want this match more. That's what, honest to God, what it comes down to. It's just personal preference. And the Charlotte Flair Jordynne Grace match, take my money. Jordynne Grace versus Rhea Ripley, just again, because they're so similar and just two I think Rhea Ripley's journey is closer to Jordan Grace's than Charlotte. And to me, these two are mirror images of one another. And that's why I like that story just a bit better than the Charlotte Flair one, because you got two badass women who basically scratched, clawed, and reinvented themselves to dominate. And both had to do so while fighting from underneath. Like literally, you could look at these two and it's like you two traveled the exact same path, but in different companies. Exactly the same. They are mirror images of one another. So to me, when you talk about dream matches for different promotions, that's kind of at its core what a dream match is. This person with their opposite of another company, or their version of themselves in another company. And to me, Jordan Grace and Rhea Ripley are two sides of the same coin.
Agreed.
So yeah, that's my number one match. But I'm happy to see that we both top our charts, or put them close to the top, with the woman that we started the list with. And she's both towards the end. So that's pretty cool. So you're gonna have to sell me on your last one, but I'm sure it's a good one.
Here's the thing, Jordan, and I know you will think it's a good one. And Jordan and Charlotte had my number one spot originally, just because I do think Jordan's just one of the greatest wrestlers. I love the Lenny Leonard line. There's no such thing as women wrestling anymore. It's just wrestling, and she is one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. So why would she not just default get my number one spot?
Yeah.
She got edged out because the match of my number one spot, as it's going to be one of the greatest matches ever seen on a TNA pay-per-view. But also, it's the story that puts it over. You already kind of started the story. You were telling this story a little earlier, and I'm just going to add on, because my number one is Josh Alexander versus the phenomenal AJ Styles.
Hey, we got one the same.
We got one. I like your story. The only thing I'm adding is a lot of focus on the fact that one man was the face of TNA for so long. And when he left, there was a lull, and nobody, who is the face now? And nobody grabbed that flag harder than Josh Alexander. Nobody took that flag and ran with it and said, this is my company now, more than Josh Alexander. If you split TNA into two halves, the impact, the real total nonstop action years and the impact years, you might as well just call them the AJ years and the Josh years. So to have these two men who led this company for 25 years in two different eras and two different companies, really, because the company that Josh led is not the company that AJ led. They're two very different companies. Scott's company, Don Callis's company, Anthem's company is not what Jeff Jarrett's company was. It's not what Dixie Carter's company was. Two very, very different animals. So to have these two men who are both very different and very similar, repping a company for two really different reasons, coming face to face and saying, who is truly the face of TNA? Let's find this out. Headlining, I would put it for Bound for Glory, and the rest is history right there.
I can already imagine the promos where AJ's talking to Josh Alexander's almost like the Mick Foley series with Tommy Dreamer, where he said, look, I've been there and I've done that. I bled, I sweat, I gave everything to that company. And at the end of the day, they chewed me up and spit me out, and they'll do the same to you, Josh. So, you don't need to give yourself to them the way I did. Learn from me. And him going, no, man, you didn't even bother to pass the torch. You just dropped it and let that flame snuff out. I had to pick it up and I had to reignite that flame from nothing. And I've done that. And yeah, I could just see, I got goosebumps just thinking about it, man.
Not only would the match be amazing, you're right. The promos would be complete fire. I would love AJ to come out and maybe it wouldn't be the greatest thing for him to disparage the company he's been working for the last 8 years, but to have him come out and say something along the lines of,
that's fine. Those guys don't work there anymore.
If AJ came out and said something along the lines of, I come out on SmackDown every week and I call it the house that AJ built, that's just a line. TNA is literally the house that AJ built. I built this house. I did everything. There is no X Division without AJ Styles. There is no, and you could just list the things that AJ did. So you don't get to where you are, Josh, without AJ Styles. This is my house. You
but
are
AJ,
here as a guest.
But AJ, you took the torch you were supposed to pass to us, and you burnt that house to the ground.
Yes.
And Josh Alexander rebuilt it brick by brick by brick.
It's the story writes itself. This is why it has to be my number one. It's just, this is the perfect match. And what I love about this is, yeah, we can call it a dream match all you want. This is so in our grasp. This still could happen. AJ, I believe AJ still loves TNA. I truly in my heart believe.
Yeah, sure. He's got to have a fondness for it.
And Josh, as soon as this whole thing started with Jordan, Josh puts out his Twitter right away and says, "Who's coming over? I don't care who you are. I'm the man you're going through. When you come over to this side, I'm the man you're going through." And he doesn't care who it is.
I can make a whole list just on Josh Alexander matches.
This is what when I texted you, I said you asked me for the criteria, and I said each wrestler can only appear one time, one spot, or else this will just be WWE versus Josh Alexander. Because I could have 7 different matches with Josh Alexander.
It would have been just Josh Alexander and Jordan Grace. That's it. Not to disrespect or disparage all the other guys. It's just that they're so good.
Yeah.
They're so good right now.
I could do 7 Josh matches and 7 Jordan matches.
Absolutely.
Easy.
But what were Tyler's 7 matches? That's what I'm interested in.
Okay, so I do got to say I was a little wrong. I thought that we matched the ABC DIY spot. That was actually his number 3, not his number 4.
Ooh, controversy.
But one thing I did forget, I thought his number 2 was his number 1 was his number 2. So we did match one. He and I matched Josh and AJ as our number 1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But then I'll go through the rest. I kind of I don't hate his card. I think the only reason I gave him shit about his card in the beginning is I tried so hard to throw as many names in as possible. So when I read his card, it's all one-on-one matches. I'm sitting there going, "Where's this guy? Where's this guy? Where's this guy? Where's this guy?" If you take away
so many spots.
If you take away that, man, he put together 7 really cool matches. Let's start with number 7. He did Speedball Mike Bailey versus Seth Rollins. Fuck, I'll watch that every day of the week.
Yeah, I'll pay money to see that. 100%.
I love this idea, man. What he did here, I really like this. I would
like
not.
What you've done here.
I would not have thought of this. I love the way Tyler's brain works. Sometimes he did an intergender tag match.
Okay.
Man, he's such an indie booker. I love how indie his brain works. I love this. This is so indie. He did Jody Threat and Trent Seven versus Natalia and Brian Pillman. What's his name? Lexus King. Lexus King. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm loving it. That's so indie, but I love it.
It's intriguing. I don't know that it would put. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's top 7 worthy. But it's intriguing.
I think he would tell you the same thing. I think he even said, "This is my guilty pleasure match. This is my Fair. But especially with Jody and Trent, because we've worked with these guys on the indies so much in the last year or so. Trent has been around Barrie.
I mean, to be fair, this is our dream
matches,
right? So
yeah, that's it. His number 5, I'm loving this as well. You can tell I love this because I put these 2 guys against each other in the War Games match just to see what could happen. He's got Eric Young versus Randy Orton.
I was thinking about that match, honestly. It killed me not to put either of those guys on my list, especially Eric Young. But Eric Young and Randy Orton, come on. Yeah, 100%. Give him.
I'm loving his number 4. I wouldn't have booked it. I wouldn't have thought to book it. But this is a cool match. He's got Cody Rhodes versus Steve Macklin.
Yeah. I also would not have thought of that, but
Yeah.
I'd watch that match for sure.
Right.
It's weird because like you don't think of them as being similar, but they're actually quite similar.
They really are. Yeah. And then you have his number 3 is ABC versus DIY. His number 2 is Jordan Grace versus Rhea Ripley, and his number 1 is Josh versus AJ. So basically, he just flipped your 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can't argue with the list then. I like it for the most part.
I like it.
Any matches that you had on there that you just didn't quite make it? Basically any match that didn't make it onto my card were just variations on other matches that just didn't make the final cut.
Yeah, no, not really. Because when I started putting this together, I had to stop thinking too much because I was going to make myself really sad. And I really wanted to have a lot more crazy matches. I wanted to have a Monsters Ball match. I wanted, originally, like if we were doing a top 20 or something like that, I probably wouldn't have done War Games, and I would have had, PCO against somebody maybe a little bit different instead of being in a multi-man match. Off the top of my head, I don't know. Maybe the Ring General, PCO and Gunther would be kind of scary.
I had thought about doing like a Monsters Ball with like a multi-man and putting Gunther in there, and it's like, yeah, that'd be all right.
With
PCO and him, yeah.
Maybe Dexter Loomis. Throw him somewhere in there.
Throw Khan in there. Throw Sheamus in there.
There's Logan a lot of names on both rosters. There's certain names that just couldn't. I could pull a couple names off my list and be okay. Like I could pull Chad Gable. I just wanted Chad Gable to get some shine. So that's why he's on the list. Joe Hendry as well. I wanted him to get some shine, so he's on my list. But there's certain guys that don't come off my list. Logan Paul does not come off this list.
No.
You know what I mean? A Braun Breaker does not come off this list because I think he not only do I want to see him shine, he deserves to shine on a card like this.
I really, really wanted to do something with Wesley and the Rascals.
Mm-hmm.
Just given the history.
Of course.
I wanted to do something with them, and I tried to make it work and desperately wanted to do something where it's like, okay, the story being told is you left us, you abandoned us, and now we've had to build this again without you. And I could not think of another guy that fit that story. I was like LA Knight doesn't make sense, but like the funny thing is, and at one point I did pivot to that big multi-man tag match with the idea being like it was on the WWE side, it would be guys like AJ Styles, Eli Drake, Drew McIntyre, guys who like left TNA and went on and became stars, bigger stars in WWE, and then the TNA guys being like, you turned your back on us. Like you were playing for the home team and then you left us for big money, you sellouts. That was kind of the story I wanted to tell at one point, but I just couldn't find a team on the WWE side that made sense and worked.
Yeah.
So I was like, I have to go with something else. So yeah.
And if we were talking about dream segments, if we wanted to throw some segments in there, I just want to see Triple H come out and fire AJ Francis.
Again. Like I said, doesn't have to be a match. Just give me Joe Hendry, R-Truth, and The Miz in a ring.
Oh my God. That's or even Joe Hendry and the New Day.
Or I'll do this. Joe Hendry. I don't know who would be on the opposite side, but have Joe Hendry, The Miz, and R-Truth against Grayson Waller, Austin Theory, and somebody else from TNA side of things. Because could you just not imagine the songs and the way that Joe Hendry could make fun of those two?
And that's my last question before we wrap this up. If you had to pick one, not a team, one person, pick one person from WWE roster that Joe Hendry could come out and write a song about, who would you choose?
Those guys. Yeah. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory.
Yeah.
Because they would sell it big.
Choice.
They would work so well together, personality wise, unquestionably.
I love it. Absolutely love it. This was a fun list, man. I had a lot of fun with this. And what's absolutely fun is none of it's really off the table.
Uh-oh.
Your table is going to be very sticky.
All empty.
Do you want to get ants? That's how you get ants.
It's all done, Mike. That means the episode's over. I finished the drink.
That does. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got a little bit of housekeeping before we wrap this up. Number one.
Mike,
yeah, what's up?
I said I might have another surprise for you.
Oh, no.
So,
who do you have tied up behind you?
I thought about waiting to do this, but you know what? I love you guys so much, and I'm trying to get you to do some more rock solid stuff. So here's what I'm going to do. Yeah. I'm going to make an announcement here on the show that we're going to save until the end of the week. I'm going to do it exclusively here on your show.
That is amazing. I love this. All right.
Rock Solid Wrestling has been in business since 2007, and we have amassed a pretty huge library of incredible content from superstars like McFoley, Ricky Steamboat, Josh Alexander. We talked about it before, and just great matches.
Very impressive stuff. Yeah,
all the stars who have come up through us. So we have launched a fan club, rocksolidfanclub.ca, and this is going to be the place where you can go and support Rock Solid Wrestling and have access to our incredible content library, including a couple of brand new shows that are only for the Patreon, stuff like Rock Solid Unsanctioned, which is our kind of serialized episodic programming. Greatest Hits, we're going to go back and look at all of our great matches from Rock Solid Wrestling history. Versus, where we have both competitors on the sides of the ring sit down and talk about some of their best matches. And on the road with Rock Solid, we're going to showcase some of the best matches over the past couple of years we've been traveling up and down the roads of Ontario with. We're going to have full events on there. We're going to have specials. There may be a podcast involved, and I'll have to have you guys on there involved with that. And all this and a lot more. And the tiers start as low as $2. Our biggest tier is $8, which gets you all kinds of extra perks, but all that stuff that I talked about, like all for less than $10 a month. So we're going hard. We're launching that. We say that it's the Rock Solid Fan Club where real fans get it. So go get it right now. It's live, rocksolidfanclub.ca. You heard it here first on Canada with Mike and Tyler.
How far back does the content go?
I believe to 2007. Like,
they have footage that goes back that far, eh?
We have been amassing this content, and it's kind of just been sent out to regional TV stations and pitched as different programs for years. Yeah. And now we've decided we're going to get in on the streaming game. So go check it out. That's the link, rocksolidfanclub.ca. And again, less than $5 a month, you get a lot of that exclusive stuff, and $8 a month will get you everything. So go show your support, and we'd really appreciate it. And show what a real fan of Rock Solid Wrestling you are.
And I want all my listeners, because we have listeners. I'm so proud of this. We have listeners from all over the place. We're big in Mexico. I don't know if you know that. But we have listeners from everywhere. We have friends and listeners in the States, especially in New York. Guys like Jonah, Anthony, all you guys, you're listening to this show. This is your opportunity to see what real Canadian wrestling really looks like. We've been promoting Barrie Wrestling now for 5 years. And they have been available in IWTV, so everyone's being able to see. Doesn't matter where you live, all over the world, you can watch Barrie Wrestling on IWTV. This is now your chance. If you were like, "Oh, you guys talk about Rock Solid on the show, I've never been able to see it," here's your chance now to join the Rock Solid Fan Club. This is amazing news. I'm so happy we get to break this news right here. I'm excited about this. I'm going to go join up right away because there's so much stuff that I cannot wait to see, because I don't get to the Rock Solid shows as much as I would like to.
And one of the things we are working on as part of it is full events. So we're looking at, when you go to a Rock Solid show, if you want to go back and watch it, sign up to the fan club there. And once it's all edited and done with some commentary from yours truly, we're going to put it up there. So, it's a good chance to go back and relive some of those favorite shows too.
I'm going to get some heat for this. I'm going to say it anyways, because I truly mean it from the bottom of my heart. I do. Everybody knows I'm a Barrie Wrestling boy.
Absolutely.
But if you want to gander north of Barrie. Keep going. That Northeastern territory. There's going to be some people mad I'm saying these words. You're not getting better than Rock Solid Wrestling. Rock Solid Wrestling is the greatest wrestling you're going to find in Northern Ontario, hands down. And the people that are with other businesses and promotions, sorry, you're wrong. I'm right. Rock Solid is where you want to be. What I love about Rock Solid is you're all over the place, man. You guys have been traveling. You're not just in North Bay. You're not just in Barrie. You're not just like the companies that that I've been doing a lot of work for. We're stuck in one place. You're all over.
Circus, baby.
You're in Collingwood.
We pack up the tent and we go town to town.
Like let's just list off a couple places you've been just in the last year. Collingwood, Aurelia. Have you been to Aurelia yet? Or are you still working on that?
Bracebridge to start the year off.
Bracebridge, Kirkland Lake, Sudbury, Timmins,
Owen Sound,
all
Hanover,
over the north, man.
Angus,
yeah, of course.
The Borden Army Base. Yeah, dude, we've been all over the place and a lot more places to come for sure. And
the home territory of the one and only Crazy Steve, of course, and love. The first time I ever saw Steve, was it the first time? No, the first time I saw Steve was in North Bay. The second time I saw Steve was in a show in Angus. And the pride that man brings to Angus when he wrestles there is ridiculous. Like,
he absolutely loves the Rock Solid fans, and they love him.
Loves coming home.
I'll just say this: as much as I greatly appreciate those kind words, nice of you to say. My feeling has always been that there's more than enough room for.
No.
There's more than enough room for all kinds of wrestling out there, and every wrestling is a little bit different. It's just like ice cream, baby. That's why Baskin Robbins makes 31 different flavors.
But not every promotion has Daddy Davis on it.
You know what?
You will.
I will say this: if you
Rock Solid card every week on Daddy Davis,
your show is at least 2 points better easily.
Listen. You can sell me a ticket on Tyler Turbo. You can sell me a ticket on Scotty DeBody. You sure as hell will sell me a ticket on Tornado. But if you take all those guys off the card, as long as there's still some Daddy Davis, I'm there, baby.
Call him Daddy because Daddy said so, baby.
Love it. So there's some. Thank you so much for breaking that here. We're going to make that into a bit of a reel. Make sure people know all about this, and we're going to put the link out on the reel. That's fantastic news. So there's some housekeeping right there. I started my housekeeping a little bit there, talking.
And then you were rudely interrupted.
Talking a little bit about Barrie Wrestling right now. This coming Saturday, if you're not, if you haven't got your tickets yet, this is what Tyler and I call our SummerSlam. It really is. It's probably our second biggest show of the year. Golden Glory. Man, you've got this big multi-man match with the royal family taking on a bunch of the greatest Barrie Wrestling has to
this one's been a long time coming. This one's been building really. It's been heating up quite a bit.
This is Wild Rovers Part 2. You got Jesse V putting his title up against young Jay Lee. This has match of the year quality.
You guys must have such an emotional connection to that match.
We really do. I
know how important Jay has been to you guys, and like Jay I know how much you guys care about that guy, but I also know you guys are fans of Jesse V, and I know you guys have been singing his praises for a while, so I know that match is going to be emotional.
Jesse was our guy when even before we started with Barrie, we were a sponsor of the All Ontario Cup during the pandemic, and the bracket that we sponsored, we had 4 wrestlers in there, and one of them was Jesse V. And Jesse V went on to win the whole thing. So we call that the Counted Out Cup, baby. That's not the Ontario Cup. Jesse V was the Counted Up Cup winner.
And Jay was your first live interview.
Jay was our very first live interview. Jay debuted in Barrie Wrestling, the same show that we debuted at Barrie Wrestling. We've been neck and neck with Jay for 3 years now. We love Jay to death.
So Mike, who's gonna win?
This is so hard, man. Man, it breaks my heart to say these words. I just don't think it's time for Jay. Jesse V has had that title now for approximately 7 months, and he's not letting go of that title anytime soon. That man is hungry. That man looks like he ate Brian Cage for breakfast. Like that man, he's
jacked.
He's jacked, but he's also, I've never seen a man throw a senton bomb from a man that size. He's agile, he's talented, he can wrestle you, he can dominate you. He's the Barrie Wrestling Champion for a reason.
I'm going to be contradictory. I'm going to say Jay's going to win. I think he's going to shock the world. He's going to shock the world.
Well, if Jay's going to shock the world at any show, Golden Glory would be the show to do it. Golden Glory is just one of the big shows of the year. I can't wait for this card, especially from a personal reason. This is going to be my son's very first wrestling show.
This is so cool, and it's really quite adorable for anybody that knows.
He's so ridiculously excited. He's been really getting into wrestling lately. And I don't know if I didn't tell you about this, but he's really into the Golden Age. He's really into, his favorite wrestler is Tito Santana.
Arriba.
To the point where he wanted to go as Tito Santana for Halloween, and I had to shut that down real quick.
Maybe he could go as a Tito Santana fan.
Yeah. But he loves his favorite match right now. His two, if you were asked what his two favorite matches are, he'll tell you Rock and Hogan from WrestleMania 18 and Tito Santana versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 8. Those are his two favorite matches. What did I do to deserve a kid like this, man? The kid knows his wrestling already. He's a huge John Cena mark already. He runs around calling himself John Cena. He's got a little the John Cena wrestle buddy. He's running around doing this all the time. He's hilarious. He's made up his own wrestling persona called Ding Ding Dynamite. The kid is,
that's a great name.
Right? He comes to the ring to TNT by AC/DC. He's all about it, man. He loves it. He's so excited. He told me he wants to get his very first wrestling autograph this weekend. Nice. He asked me about that. He's like, I've never gotten an autograph. Can I get an autograph? I said, of course. And he wants his very first autograph to be from his very favorite indie wrestler, Pretty Ricky Wilde. And
that's gonna make Ricky smile so much when he hears
I'm so happy that he loves Ricky so much. And he's also my kid's a big fan of villains. He's a big fan of bad guys.
Sure.
He roots for the bad guys when he watches a cartoon or whatever. So believe it or not, the guy that he really wants to see this weekend is in the main event against Ricky in the Rovers match, and that's the big Stratosphere.
Well, he's going to like him a lot then.
If you like a villain, you're going to love Stratosphere. Sure. I'm excited about this. I can't explain how excited I am about this. This is a long time coming for me. I never wanted to push wrestling on my son. I never did push wrestling on my son.
I can attest to that.
And Laura, my wife and I agreed early on that we weren't going to let him watch wrestling for a while. Only
just kind of happened organically.
It just happened organically. He would ask me questions, and Drew Ferris will love this. How he really got into it was watching the Hanna-Barbera spinoffs. The Scooby-Doo Goes to WrestleMania, the Jetsons, or not Jetsons, the Flintstones. There
was a Jetsons one.
There was one. I don't know if we've watched that one yet, but there's two Scooby-Doo ones. There's a Flintstones one, and he absolutely adores them. And that's how he learns about his wrestlers. He's a huge Rey Mysterio mark now, but because of the cartoons, not because of the things he's seen in the WWE.
Isn't that wild?
He loves Stephanie McMahon, but because of the cartoon. it's and because he's got an action figure.
I don't know if you can find them online. Do you have the network? Do you subscribe? I don't know if they still have it, but I wonder how he would.
Recently stopped subscribing to the network right after WrestleMania.
You know what I want to see? And this could be just the alcohol talking. I want Finn to watch episodes of Slam City and do a review on the show, a weekly review of episodes of Slam City.
I don't think we're far off from having Finn on this show. I don't think we're far off at all. I want Finn to interview like Ricky or something like that. But even more so, I'm working on something big. I'm not going to spoil on the show. Let's just say I'm working really hard at getting one of his favorite wrestlers on this show. And if it happens, I'm going to have him at least do a run-in to say hi to this guy. Or maybe not hi, but hola.
We'll leave it at that.
Arriba.
Maybe we'll leave it at that.
We'll see. I'm working on it. We're trying. Anything else left to plug, buddy?
Nope, that was the big thing. So thank you for letting me put that over on your show a little bit early.
Where are we finding Rock Solid next? You just did Collingwood. Where we seeing Rock Solid pop up next?
Thursday, July 4th, the Caruso Club in Sudbury as part of the 52nd annual Italian Festival. We've been doing that show for years, and the tradition continues. We have already confirmed Cody Deaner will be on the card, and more talents and matches will be announced in the coming weeks. So for more on that, stay tuned to all of Rock Solid Wrestling's social media presence, which includes our Instagram, Facebook, and X.
Speaking of social media, ladies and gentlemen, please, for the love of God, look down there, hit those like buttons, hit those subscribe buttons. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed, please tell your friends to come on, subscribe.
Click that little bell.
We are so close to 2 of our goals. As soon as we get to 1,000 subscribers, we can start doing so much more for the show and for you. We just need that extra digit. We need to get to 4 digits before we can even start. But also, from a personal standpoint, I know Tyler, on one hand, he's like, he agrees with me 100%, but he's begging me not to say it out loud. We're this close to beating George McGuire, I call him George McGuire because I don't even remember what his name is. Straight Talk Wrestling, we're this close to beating them in subscribers. This close. And everybody knows I have a very friendly rivalry with George. Love you, George, but not enough to not want to beat you in the numbers.
All the sadists out there, I'll make you a deal. If you can get Mike and Tyler to 1,000 subscribers, I will film me forcing Finn to watch WrestleMania 5 where Ricky Martel turns on Tito Santana against the Brainbusters.
The sick part about that, he is knowing my son, he would probably become a Rick Martel fan. 2 reasons. Number 1, Rick Martel is one of the greatest wrestlers that ever lived. Everybody knows that. Number 2, he just loves bad guys. So he would probably also turn on Tito.
Okay, that's it. I'm starting a petition right now. How about this? You get us to 4. You get Mike and Tyler to 4 digits, and we'll have Finn do the top 7 bad guys in wrestling.
Oh, I love that.
He can put whoever he wants on there.
Yeah. He would probably put Stephanie McMahon in 3 different spots for some reason. He loves Stephanie.
It works. Different eras.
Yeah. One of his first wrestling action figures was a Stephanie McMahon action figure that he chose at the Dollarama, but it's from their Masters of the Universe line.
Oh yeah.
And so she's in like very like gothic garb, and she's got the Triple H-esque skull mask. It's really badass. It's really badass. All right. With that said, all the housekeeping is done. Thank you so much for joining us today, live from our nation's capital and repping that Cottage Springs. Once again, Cottage Springs. We got to bring Cottage Springs Contant on a lot more. You know,
he enjoyed himself.
He enjoyed himself, and I thank you for being tempted to and having the opportunity to bring Danny Franchise on the show and not doing it. That's the greatest gift you could ever give to me.
I gotta know what to tell you, man. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him talk.
Because I'm about to press stop on this thing, and I get to go up and do whatever I want in my life. You're stuck with Danny Franchise.
God. I'm gonna need more Cottage Springs.
You didn't get to when you come on. You usually help us out and do the intro. You didn't do that this week, so why don't you help us out and bring us home this week?
Sounds like a plan. Well, on behalf of Danny Franchise, Cottage Springs, and Mike, this is Adam Contant, and you have been counted out.